This is TWiT.
So your first, I think it was your first post on Six Colors, was your goodbye letter from IDG.
Yeah, that was actually, it was in this weird interregnum where it's actually the same server, but it was posted on, I hadn't launched the site yet, so it was like snellworld.com, which eventually will go away and just redirect to Six Colors. But
you were very candid. You were surprisingly candid in that post.
I had some time to think about what to write, and I wanted it to be, I didn't quite realize when I'd been trying to leave for a while. And in fact had quit at one point and been talked into staying and saying, no, things are going to be different, things are going to be better, stick around. I never envisioned it that I would be leaving, and most of the staff that I assembled over the years would be gone.
That must have been sad.
And with two layoffs this year, we lost, there's only one person left who was in that Macworld staff. And then a couple of people came over from TechHive, and that's the new Macworld, is those 3 people. And they're good people.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize the whole thing was going to kind of explode around me when I left. I expected it to be like, I'm leaving, they're still there.
Continue on, carry on.
And that didn't happen. And that maybe I would still be writing for them and all that. And that it went in a different direction. So it's too bad. But yeah, so I'd been thinking about the reasons to leave for a long time. I had to write my editor's column for the last print issue of Macworld with nobody knowing that I was leaving or that these layoffs were happening.
Or this was the last.
That was due.
It didn't say our last print edition, did it?
So my column said it was the last print edition.
Okay.
That was the one thing, but until it was like a day before it went to bed when the layoffs happened. So I had to write it as like this crypto farewell that was sort of about the print magazine and reminiscing, but was actually when read the whole thing. So that was weird. So I'd written a lot of stuff about it when I was able to write my little announcement piece, and yeah, so I tried to be really, really careful and aware of the fact that a lot of good people were losing their jobs, and also try to explain a little bit about like what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go and how things had changed. So I tried to explain it in that post.
Yeah. When you started TechHive, did you already feel it crumbling? Did you know that this was kind of the beginning of the end?
No. I think TechHive started right when I had taken the job, and the guy who was the president at the time.
The job being, you were already editor-in-chief of Macworld.
Right. So I took the job as editorial director in charge of PC World and Macworld and starting TechHive.
Right. And by the way, Jason has been kind of continually on our shows during this whole process. And we didn't really understand exactly. Yeah. You didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
Rightly so. I mean, you have a responsibility to the company, but
well, senior management, it's really hard to say. I'm wondering if I want to be here and if we should just take off to your staff of 50 people who work for you. You kind of can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
But I did start. I mean, I think some of my friends realized
things were still good when you were made editorial director.
Yeah, that was a big opportunity for me, and I learned some things about myself, which is that job. Being editor-in-chief, you are doing editorial work and you're doing management work. And I didn't mind the mixture. When I took over the responsibility for the PC World staff, that added more management to the mixture, and there wasn't a lot of room left for the editorial stuff. And I found out about myself that one of the things that fuels me, the way I keep score in some ways, to say you're doing a good job, is on the editorial stuff. And the management stuff was always a necessary evil. And when your entire job becomes necessary evil, it's just 100% evil at that point, and that's no fun. And so the people at PC World were great. They had to go through a lot more difficulty than Macworld had already kind of been through a lot of the worst of it, and PC World had to go through it, and I ended up being the agent of a lot of that change, which I felt bad for because I felt like, it would be very easy to say, you're the person who did this, and if you weren't here, this would have been great. The reality is somebody was going to have to be the agent of change, and I'm the one who decided it would be me. I kind of regret that, just in the sense that I don't regret taking the challenge, but that was a sucky thing to do, to have to demolish a proud, professional editorial organization that needed to change through no fault of their own. Right? It's the world that made a change. So that was not a lot of fun, but that was my job, and so I did it.
Probably better you than a lot of people.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I think you probably did it with heart
and
sympathy for the situation.
I think an outsider was necessary.
Yeah.
I think the big problem was that I wasn't far enough out of an outsider,
right,
because I had worked with them
at
looked like
Macworld. The company guy.
So well, it's a lot easier to say Macworld's our rival. Why is the Macworld guy going to ruin us now?
Yeah.
Than if they had hired somebody just off the street,
yeah,
and they wouldn't have said that. They would have been like, well, he's the new guy.
Right.
He's going to do what he's going to do.